This corruption is going to stop. It's pushing good people over the top. It's causing pain they don't deserve. These fucking judges, what a nerve. I can smell the smoke in the air. People losing their lives every day. We can't stand for this bullshit game. It's time to light this shit on fire. Let's burn the bitch down. They take our lives. Let's burn the bitch down. It should be no surprise. Let's burn the bitch down. They deserve what they get. Let's burn the bitch down. There is no regret. They're taking kids, ruining their future, making dads run scared through the fire. The courts destroying families, they're such a liar. When the days turn into the nights, they give up, they have no fight. When you break the man, you take his soul. When you take his child, consider yourself told. Let's burn the bitch down. They cause our pain. Let's burn the bitch down. We're not insane. Let's burn the bitch down. They had their chance. Let's burn the bitch down. We show our stance. We won't stand for this anymore. Here I am, let's settle the score. I don't wanna bust your balls. Your honor, you need to fall. You lie almost every day. Pissed off parents are on their way. You can get away with this anymore. Run scared when they pound on the door. You think this is a joke? You'll know better when you smell the smoke. We won't stand for this anymore. We are parents headed to war. Let's burn the bitch down. Whoa. Let's burn the bitch down. Whoa. Let's burn the bitch
We know it's all about the money, we know they lie, we know this is corruption. Does CPS know what they are doing to the children?
are taking our kids every day. I shout them in and no one has a thing to say for those who have been isolated. Don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeve. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, God damn it. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up like thin tags. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. So give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stop it.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Tiff.
Hey, Darren.
Here we are. Holy smokes. I made it in. What's happening?
It's Friday.
It's Friday. That's right. It is Friday. And today we have special Friday day. Friday.
Yes, we
show.
do. And I love this gentleman so much.
He's a man after our own heart. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
So, I noticed that we are a little bit different in size here.
Yeah.
We clipped the phone ready button. So this is the way we're going to be. That's all right. We're going to be able to see D, and let's bring him in here. Mr. Fostering reality himself. Let's do this. Let's get him out here because people are waiting to hear him, not us. Let's hear what he has to say. My man.
Yes, good to be back.
Whew,
Nice to see you.
Almighty. Oh, it's so good to see you. How you been, man? Things been busy? Things been crazy, or what?
Yeah, busy on the foster care research side and busy in my personal work life. So it's been busy nonstop. How have you
What
been?
what's new? What do you find? What's some new information that you have for people? What's some new stuff that you since the last time we talked? What's some new stuff? Some new good stuff that you're finding out that can help people, man? Like, what do you got? What do you got for information?
Um, well, again, everything just comes as my opinion. So
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still figuring stuff out. This is a huge. I refer to it as a beast because it is a
Mm-hmm.
huge monster. And I would say, as far as some of the newest stuff that I'm looking at is this executive order that was just put out on I think the 13th or the 15th. That we need to talk about that. You
Yes, we
know,
do. We certainly do.
that is a nightmare come to life. That I was expecting something like this, but not until like 2027 or 2030. Um, but it's coming on fast. This new
D.
thing.
This is what I heard when we watched that day. I heard Donald Trump say this bill has helped so many right now. And first of all, this is I love talking to you because you are it. You are the example, or you are a person that's been through the system as the system is and was and is going to be and all of that. So to hear it from a parent or someone that hasn't been through it, that's is not only an opinion, but you've lived this stuff, man. You've lived and
Mhm.
breathed this stuff, so you know it. But I heard Donald Trump pretty much say, man, that this bill is gonna not only help those that have come through so far, but there's gonna be so many more. And I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like so many more means that they're ramping up to take our kids.
yes, and that's what I heard. And when you look at what he said, actually look at it. I mean, this ties into everything that's been going on, even back to 2018 and all the way back to 1997. This is that same pathway that I grew up on. I saw this, but not integrated into artificial intelligence and uh, a data center like it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's what I heard, and looking at his words, what I see is that right now it's the test subjects, it's the foster kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the foster kids first, but then it's coming to the next vulnerable group, rather it's elderly or people on welfare or prison inmates, parole. It's coming for everybody, just like Sarah Quill and Ritalin did, just like
Mm-hmm.
cognitive restructuring did. It starts with the foster kids and then it moves out to everybody.
Right, and it almost sounded like he's making a new generation of welfare dependent recipients. They're not helping these people. He's
No.
trying to make this generation. He's trying to make foster children dependent on the welfare system.
Yes, and again, in my opinion, um, this is doing that, as has every step up until this point. It
Mm,
is highly profitable, but in like 2000, 2002, sometime in there, when the tech industry really got involved, it became no longer. See, in my opinion, it was never about the kids, anyways.
mm-hmm,
Um, it's never about helping your local community. It hasn't ever been that. You can dig back as far as you want. That's what they
mm-hmm,
say, not what it is. So then the tech industry gets involved, and that opened a whole new profit engine for billionaires and billionaire tech and tech firms. And
mm-hmm,
so that's what's been going on for 20 years, 25 years. And then the next big move was 2018 when um, basically when Donald Trump had mentioned almost everything he said this time, except without the AI, it just kind of pittered out. It made a lot of complications for states. It was easily sidestepped, as far as I can tell, as far as helping even the billionaires. What it did was it gave you a label before you were removed that guaranteed your pathway. So it was like it would show the investors basically their year to date, what they're going to make, but in 15, 20 years now it's set up to do the same thing, but with all of the data that has been collected, including now the AI, which is a data problem in itself, but it also sorts the data out like we can't even comprehend. And I'm not talking about they're using chat GBT. The AI that they have doesn't have a name unless they just call it God, but their AI can tell you right now if your children's children's children are going to be profitable, actually where they're going to be profitable, not if, but where they're going to be profitable. And that's what this is. This is that cog. Prior to this, you could take a family, like say my family. My my mother's family was Native American, or is Native American. She was removed off of her reservation and put into white people's home. She was full-blooded Sioux. From there, they knew that she was going to be on welfare her whole life. They could guarantee it based on the trauma and the way this was going to go. Rather that family provided her opportunity or not, the damage was done. It was predictable, and that's kind of how it played out. As soon as she had children, the state got involved. They were able to ping right away and then find reasons to remove her kids. That's she was pregnant when they got involved, because I have a 2-year-old sister. I had a 2-year-old sister when I was born who they were already involved with. So the state already had their foot in the door. When I was born, I was removed immediately. They knew at that point, being a second generation foster kid, that it's almost a 90% chance that I'm going to feed either the prison pipeline or more children into the foster care system. It didn't show that on any public information, because it's always redefined what they're really doing with words that we like, that we think mean something that they don't. So that got perfected. CCWIS, the Comprehensive Children Information Welfare System, that is the basically AI before it was artificial intelligence. It is a data bank of what works, what doesn't. And that machine, if you look at it like a machine, it sees any Title IV payout working. It sees a completed successful cycle when Title IV gets deemed. And since it's ran on machine learning, every time that happens, it reinforces itself. And so when it can find a family, and we, right now, most people think that somebody has to call CPS. And that is still true, but it doesn't have to be like that. It could also be if an office needs to fill quotas to keep their funding, they can go to an area that is likely to have problems that they could code or be involved with, or go to a school and talk to a counselor and start getting people into the, funneling into the system if they need to meet metrics, or make it look like more of a problem in their area for funding in another area. So that's what CCWIS does and has always done. And that has just gotten stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to predict where you're going to be most profitable. It's a sorting hat, like on Harry Potter, and it at the same time will target the right families that it can benefit on. And another thing a lot of people don't understand that I found in my research is most of us know that the Black communities and the Native American communities are most of the foster care system across the board. Um, that over time has been like guaranteed to them. So it creates what they call social impact bonds, where billionaire investors can say, oh, yeah, look at your problem that you have in your area. And we're willing to put up this much money for your state if you can get the numbers to look like this. And so they'll say, okay, deal. Then they put the money up, the state goes in, uses the CCWIS to get the numbers looking right so that we see less children. We might see more children coming into foster care in a larger region than they were measuring before. So we'll see more children coming in, but they emphasize it's a larger area. And on the back end, we have more kids getting help. So this social impact bond pays out. And it has nothing to do with us. We get plugged into a machine. If you have a CPS office in your area, and it needs numbers, it will come hunting. I mean, that's what that's doing. What this AI is going to do is set you up for it, hunt you in a different way than how it does now. They won't need mandatory reporters because they'll have predictive algorithms. They'll match what they want to happen with what they see happening, disregarding what's actually happening so that they can check their boxes to make their money and to cycle the machine. Then once you're in foster care, now something will come up for the parents. I'm not sure where we're going with that yet, but if you are a foster kid and say you're getting close to aging out, you age out, you're hooked up on this app and everything, and that follows you, and there's nothing in any of the paperwork that says that information can't be sold or traded. So the biggest problem I see with that, other than it's a problem, is that these data firms sell that information to companies, to corporations, who then want to sell something. And since the year 2000, I mean, forever, the foster care industry has been a valuable thing, but it's been a small group of contractors. Now it is to the billionaire class. Everybody can get a piece of it, and the more money they dump into it and the more funding they put into it, the more everything gets upgraded. The software companies put more into it. They're making more. And now the AI just, I mean, it is literally the beast here with us now. I mean, it's that bad.
Right. It's the difference between us right now and then ABC or CNN or something like that picking it up. And now look at what they can do. The graphics, the stuff they could do is it's all hands on deck now. You know,
Yeah.
when you let those billionaires get involved, it's the degree of what they can research and what they can. I mean, they already are in the gajillionth, percentile anyway, because they have that unlimited budget and everybody's making money. I mean, there's a reason that all these politicians aren't going against Title IV funding. I mean, this would be very simple kill. Is if you killed Title IV funding, this would end all of this. But none of them will even step close to touching that.
No, and the Title IV funding goes way beyond even their salary. It is invested in billion-dollar contracts that at the end of a couple years equals trillions. It's not going anywhere. Everything is tied into it. That's the thing, is nobody wants to touch it because they don't want to look like a fool when they're told, you can't touch this. You cannot touch this. And everybody, the people who are saying we're going to fix this, or we can, or let's look at this, they're trying to reverse engineer something that is made to be unreverse engineered.
Right.
It won't get better by going backwards. It's so set up and in place that it just won't. And if we were to stop foster care in general, we have a bigger problem on our hand, that people are actually really being hurt, that need something. And since all we have right now is CPS, that's the answer. I'm not saying that there aren't children who don't get so abused that somebody shouldn't step in, but it shouldn't be CPS, and it shouldn't be nothing.
Right.
Right now, if we were to say, pull the plug, then we have a problem with especially with the exploitation of children on the internet. All that kind of stuff. The only monitoring that we have for that legally is through CPS right now, and that's designed that way so that only they can touch it. Just like a regular person can't call your local CPS office and ask any questions. They're not going to tell you anything.
Right.
It's so guarded, and it's so protected. Then when so since you can't reverse engineer it, I would say we say on this day we're pulling the plug as a people. We're pulling the plug on this day, and on that day this is sliding into place seamlessly, as we're already sliding it into place. And that's where we have to figure out a way to take care of ourselves and not depend on a giant billion-trillion-dollar corporation taking care of us, because the business plan isn't made to help us. It's made to make money, and it'll just keep doing that.
I'll tell you, man, it's like, and the things that you just said, what's scary about it is the things that you just said, that if we pull this stuff, is the things that this corporation already does to it, and that's exploit children. I mean, the biggest exploiter of children is our government. There's no doubt about that. Like, we wouldn't have the human trafficking problem that we have if CPS wasn't in place. The United Nations put out this statistic not too long ago that 84% of the kids that they run into and encounter out there when they do human trafficking rescues have come through Child Protective Services in the United States.
Yeah,
that's a scary high number, man.
It is.
To think that the United Nations, right?
And you plug that into how many children end up in prison, and you see the percentage of that, then it's like, well, there's where all of our kids are. And that is an industry. That's an absolute industry. That is a product. Like the foster care to prison pipeline is so seamless. Like, I should be there right now. I should be sitting in prison. That's where everybody I grew up with in foster care is, or dead. But it's so seamless that while you're there, they create the person who is going to be easily plugged into the next prison pipeline. And that's like you're saying with the trafficking, that's from the state. That started with the state. It wasn't a group of people out here angry at anybody that went out and started it. Same with our drug problems and everything else. It wasn't our giant meth lab and our fentanyl lab that put our state or our country in this state on us. It was super labs, and it was the chemicals that it takes to do all of that aren't ours. And that brings me to the point of trying to have a broken system fix a broken system. There's some more reverse engineering that's designed perfectly to not touch that. It's built in, like it is the foundation of everything that's our problem and that we need to fix. And I think we need to start thinking about a world, because all I can do now is imagine this. It's unrealistic to a large extent, but imagine a world where when somebody is born in, the first thing they're told is you're important, you matter, you belong here, and we need your help, we need your opinion. That if we were able to love each other again, and it sounds corny, and especially when I hear myself say it, because I'm not that type of a person. I don't like to be touched or anything, but if we could learn to love before we learned to do anything else, before we learned what brand to buy, rather it's what store we shop at, which is better. Before we learn any of that, if we learn that we matter and that we have a purpose here to help us all live here, I think, in 100 years, it would be heaven on earth. And since it's unrealistic to just say that, I would say we think about how we can get there for our children, how we can get there in the future. And a lot of it, in my own opinion, is we would have to stop living in a world or a country where we're all a product, where at the end of the day, the objective is to make money, where our country, before it was what it is, was shipping lanes. And that's where we got the docks and the dock tours. And, it was all shipping and selling and buying and purchasing. And we need to get to that point and then go right before that, right before everything has to be bought and sold. Your value was tied to a metal or anything. If we could get to that point, I think we are smart enough to create a world that actually works. Where this isn't the issue. And like I said, I know that's unrealistic, but that's what I see fixing this, honestly, is talking about it, not perpetuating the same thing that's going to keep this wheel spinning. I look at it like this wheel is so large that all we see is one little tire tread go by in our whole entire life, but it is a giant wheel. That's just what we experience. And it's designed. It's obviously set up to do this, and it's set up to have us run in circles and be pitted against each other. And
love is just a word now, right? Like, love isn't real. Love doesn't exist the way that love truly is. Like, there was a point in time where you said I love you and it meant something. Now it's on t-shirts. It's a brand.
Yes,
love is a brand now. It's not a true emotional feeling. And when you truly like try to act or show love or something, like you said, it's corny, it's odd, it's awkward. Like when you go to hug somebody, it's kind of like, like, am I supposed to? Am I not? Like this is kind of like, this is dorky, or this is like, you know what I mean? Like, love is not what love is supposed to be.
Right. And that's something we can, I guess I can't speak for we, but I can say that I feel an energy, like with my wife. I love my wife, and that is something that I can't give you a measure of. You wouldn't understand, and I can't show it to you, but we feel that. And we have to remember that we're made out of things that sense that type of energy. We're not just the 5 senses that they gave us that will help us flip through our dollar bills to pay for something. We have hearts, and I'm not a loving person, but I'm a decent person. I'm decent. At the end of the day, I'm not trying to, actually, for me, at the end of the day, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help anyone I can. That's
what love, dude. That's love right there.
That is love. That is love. And it's not something that you have to try to measure or do anything or exchange, or I don't need that from anybody. That's me being decent and just decent. At the very end of the day, I am not stepping on your toes. I'm not trying to, and I've had to learn, this is crazy talk, but that everybody is right. I have dug on both sides of almost everything, not sex trafficking and harming children and stuff like that. That's wrong. But say like the COVID-19 thing, on both sides there is information that says that this is true and right, and it just depends on which side you plug into. It's by design, again, to pit each other against. But what I did was I was decent about it. Like, regardless of my belief on it, I saw that the only thing I could do was go out and argue with somebody about it, or do what I needed to do and try to stay out of their way. And I will admit that when I would go into the grocery store, I wore a mask. And the reason why was because I saw the fear in old people's eyes. I saw uncertainty, regardless of if it's true or not. they found the information, and as a human being, I trust that they can find the information they need to make their decisions to keep them safe or not. And I'm not trying to prove that I'm right or that my point is more valuable than how they feel. And honestly, if I can get past a situation without having to argue about something designed to argue over, that's where I'm going to go, you know? And we've got to get there, I think, as a society. That has helped me tolerate people that a long time ago I would have assumed them not be there, not be here. And now I value their side of it because they are human energy, you know, and what they were taught has shown them that what they think they know is right. And I can see that. It's hard and it's difficult, but it's true.
So I'm so glad that you're here because you validated everything that I've been saying for all these years, right? Especially when I tell people, if you've ever had a case with CPS and your children have children, they are automatic targets. CPS
Yes.
will be involved in their lives. You don't know what you're talking about. But you just validated everything I said because I already knew. I saw it all around me. But I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean that you can actually find that when you dig into the CCWIS system. You know, you are giving a probability score that you don't get to see, and CPS sees it out of their databases, out of them supposedly doing good and protecting their communities, and money to prevent that from happening. They see it. They use it. They market it.
Hold on, because I can't hear you. Darren, what's wrong with this mic? Darren, your mic's not even on.
I don't know what just happened there. I don't know what happened between all of us. Try that again, D. Test your
Am I
mic.
on?
There you go. Yep, you're
Can you
here.
hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, that's better. It was a beautiful thing too. I know it, but go ahead, man.
I where was I?
You were saying that they see all their stuff in there when they're trying to
Oh,
do good,
yeah,
but go
yeah.
ahead.
You get you get a predictive risk score and a probability score, and they get this information and these software setups under the guise of preventative, not medicine, but preventative help, social justice, and taking care of their communities. They're supposed to be working towards prevention, but they're landing the guaranteed financial deal that they're going to get. And it gets worse. That's just the system. That's how it operates. But then inside of that, you have people who use that for their own personal gains, that rather the system was designed for them and their personal gain or not, they have the ability to use a crooked, faulty system for their own stuff. And
So
the probability score will also give investors a good indication of where to start pushing their products, where to move things, and it's all bad.
well, we know this. So let me ask you something. If you had a chance to go in front of Congress, what would you say to them?
That's a good question, and it really depends on my mood at the time, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah, I
I've
hear
got
ya.
20,000 personalities when it comes to this, and I first of all, I would need their credibility. I would need to know why I'm speaking to them about this, and knowing that that isn't an option or couldn't be, I would tell them what I see as a funding engine, What do you see? Show me where you see anything that isn't setting even your own career path for the future for more money. Because we all know, right when you get done being a congressman, you're going to go join one of these AI tech boards for 3 times what you're making now. I mean, I know why. It's
Yeah, I get it. They would have to catch me on a good day
Mhm.
because they wouldn't like me on a rough day.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah, any day, Tiff. Come on.
well, that's true. I'm telling you, Congress is not ready for me because they don't even know the Constitution and they take an oath to uphold it. And they're not doing that either. I already told you with this bullshit government shutdown that we, the people, did not vote on,
mhm.
right? So you were playing with our lives while you were still getting paid. But anyway,
Yeah,
they all
and
need to be fired.
while we were talking about that before the show, you and I, Tiff, I, was thinking, I started thinking about some of that stuff, like the Constitution. And I'll tell you, I'm 45 or 3 or something, and I wasn't taught the Constitution. Even if I would have been in a steady public school, I'm not sure I would have been taught because the people, my peers now that are college educated, don't know them. They don't know their rights, the Constitution. They don't know. They know the cartoon version that we all saw, but I it brings up a question for me: is if you don't speak this secret language, like a lot of foster kids never will learn, a lot of children in the group homes um, that never even know this is a thing. A lot of people in a lot of the poorer communities have no idea why. I mean, why is this tied to that system? Like, why are we in that kind of a system where if I don't know your magic words, even though this is my life, and I know right from wrong, and your laws make no sense when they go beyond there being a victim involved and it's all about the money. Why do you have the reins? Like, because you're the only ones that I see being benefit. And again, I admit I don't know the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. The only time I've been in court, I grew up in court and foster care, but other than that, it's been criminal. And for me and millions of people, uh, that fight isn't an option yet. It's not an option. And so then I look at that and I think, well, what can I do? Well, I can do all the things I'm doing. I can support people who can do that. I can encourage everybody to do something, but that's putting a band-aid on because we're limited in time, and it's so then I think, what extreme could we do? I wouldn't say everybody go grab your muskets, but I would say that the line was crossed a long time ago. And from what I understand, from what I've read, this was the reason they broke away in the first place, except this has to do with our children. And, I would say, is not participating an option for everybody to not participate, and for one thing, the whole lie about our debt and our money and stuff like that will crash and everybody will die. No, that's because you think that there is something somewhere backing up your money. Now, if we were to make this imaginary transaction without thinking that there was money somewhere when there really wasn't, it would still work. It'd still go through. I mean, regardless, at the end of the day, nobody is saying, hey, you owe me this when it comes to debts across the countries. There's no way that China is going to stop sending stuff over here. The whole world is made on making money. And so when you realize that, you see that this system is all tied together. It's all part of the same thing. And the first laws weren't about helping each other out or crimes against each other. They're about commerce and shopping and who's owed what. The land, air, water, and the whole shipping systems of who has the right to say what's more valuable. And I think we need to go to before that, where we say we need something that works. We're going to treat each other decent. We're going to teach our children this isn't a world of gimme, gimme, look what I got and take. This is a world of give, and can I help you? Hey, Horatio.
Yeah, like where our names, like that's how we drew our surnames, right? Like that period of time where if you were a hunter or whatever your name is, like it's something like that. Those periods where your name shows your greatness or your importance, and you were that of society, because society didn't create you. You were already, you understood that your role, your importance.
Oh, look, Darren. He's got a cat too.
There he is. Is that one of mine? He kind of looks
yeah,
like
right.
Say hi, buddy.
Aww.
Yeah, this is Horatio. He used to be a stray. He used to be a foster.
Nice. He's awesome. What is he? How old is he? Do you know?
It's probably 5.
Cats are really, I wasn't a cat person at all. And our dog died a couple years ago. And I went and I got one kitten, and that kitten has turned to many now. But we have a mom and a dad, and it's its own family. Like, we've created its own family, and it's crazy to actually watch what a family in the wild turns out to be. There are some things that you wouldn't agree with, obviously. But there are things, like that you can see, like how they treat each other, how they are amongst each other. And it's really wild to watch something like that happen. It's not, it's honestly, it's not the perfect little family thing like you expect life to be like. Like life, we're trying to make life into this perfect little world, and it's not.
And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I mean, that's where we lost who we are as spiritual light people. That we're so caught up on what I look like and how I dress and how cool I look.
Yeah.
That we're not. These cats, actually, this is my 3rd cat since I became a cat person. My very first cat, we got it off Craigslist, and it wasn't mine, it was my wife's, and it ended up liking me, and I just thought it was going to be like a bookshelf decoration, so I agreed to it. It ended up calming my whole spirit down, my soul. Like, I was a violent, very uptight, rageful individual until we got our cat, and it's been clarity since then.
Yeah, no, tell you what, there's nothing better than when you're working and all of a sudden they jump up on your keyboard and they sit on your keyboard, and they'll say they do that intentionally. Like, they can sense that you're getting stressed and everything.
This one right here hairballed on a $150 keyboard, a gaming keyboard. It's gone. Now I have a Bluetooth keyboard, but
Yes, I've learned that too. You got to pick it up quickly.
Yep.
It's one thing because here they come.
Unless you try to save your cat from trying to strangle himself, and he whoops your ass in the middle of the night, hits you so hard you see blue. Yeah, I don't do that to my cat anymore. If you're gonna hang yourself, I'm not helping you. I'm done. You fucked me up. That was enough.
Get over here, buddy.
You got some new videos out, buddy?
Let's see. Since last time, I think there might be 4.
Yeah, there's more than 2. I've been sending them little smiley face hearts.
Let me throw one of those babies up here. Hold on a second. See, I put myself in a new spot in the studio to do this stuff, but I didn't take into account when I have to look back across the other screens to do this stuff. So I got to adjust this.
Oh my, Darren.
Oh my, it's not conducive to this whole thing. But here, let me find you here. And here I'm leaning over like an idiot. I'm not on camera. I could just stand up and walk over here. Yeah, you've definitely been busy. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I'm tonight gonna start working on the one about this executive order. I've got lots and lots and lots of information, and then speculation at the end, just because you can see where it's going.
Yeah, it's not. It's so funny because we discussed that, and a lot of people that night they didn't see what I was talking about. They're like, no, maybe it's this different, and maybe it's this, maybe it's that, and I'm like, no, man, it's not. I swear, I just heard the president say this. The president just said what he said.
Yeah, and like I said, this started there. I think it was 20 days before that. They had made November 1st or sometime around there. They had made the cut to the food stamp stuff, and a lot of that was the aged out foster kids. There's thousands and thousands and thousands that just before that executive order announcement lost their food stamp. So it's kind of like we're taking this, and now you can come get it back and just log in.
Yo, G, what episode? What do you want me to play? What video that you have recently would you like me to put on? I'm kind of leaning towards the Parents Patriae one, buddy. But
that's a great one. That one's kind of long, but
yeah,
it's
I think
otherwise there's the announcement that I have. Oh, actually, I didn't put that on YouTube yet. Yeah, that one's fine if you want to do some of it, or
let's just run it.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's
absolutely, brother.
For the parents that are in an open CPS case right now, based on my research and my opinion, these systems should.
So we can hear your there we go.
You know they're going to be messing with us, Darren.
Oh, here we go.
I'm an over-fostered and adopted aged out foster care survivor. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an advocate, and I'm definitely not a constitutional scholar. I'm just a guy, and nothing I say or do should be interpreted as legal advice. This is just a public service announcement for the parents that are in an open CPS case right now, based on my research and my opinion. These systems should never be assumed inferior to your great constitutional rights scholarly mind. Make no mistake, you are fighting the oldest, most powerful system ever created from realm to matrix. If you only knew the entire multi-billion and trillion-dollar beast structure using the same technologies that our millionaire board members, billionaire investors, and military rely on, actually just go look it up. If anything is fallen technology, this would be it. We gotta tighten up. Fact, constitutional arguments are not slaying CPS cases like you think they are. Not to say that it doesn't happen, but the variables have way more to do with it than the rights do. There are no nationwide statistics that specifically track cases dismissed solely due to constitutional arguments. However, we can use related data from authoritative sources to paint an undeniable picture. Here's the overwhelming power of the state. The National Council of Juveniles and Family Court Judges, the NCJ-FCJ, has stated that in many jurisdictions, default judgments, that's where the parents don't show up or effectively participate, account for a significant portion of case outcomes. When parents do fight, they are facing a system where, according to American Bar Association, the parents are unrepresented or underrepresented in the majority of the cases. So what this means, the system is not designed for a complex legal battle. So let's look at the most drastic state action, termination of parental rights, the TPR. According to data from the Administration for Children and Families, in a recent year, there were over 64,000 children waiting for adoption after parental rights had been terminated. So, if constitutional arguments were a silver bullet, we would see a massive number of successful appeals based on these grounds. But we do not. The vast majority of trial court decisions, even arguably flawed ones, are upheld. When a case is dismissed or a child is returned, it's almost always for one of these procedural or evidence-based reasons, which have been spun into constitutional fairy tales and then put up for sale. The reality, the state's evidence was weak or non-existent. The risk was malicious or a mistaken report. The state had no actual evidence of abuse or neglect, or the state failed to provide reasonable efforts, which federal law requires that the state show that it made the efforts to keep the family together. If they didn't, the case can be weakened. This is a statutory argument, it's not a constitutional one. Then there's the procedural errors. A deadline was missed, the paperwork was faulty, or a caseworker failed to appear. The court dismisses without prejudice, meaning that they could just refile later. Sometimes it's just a win for the future. Here's an example that I found over and over and over. The caseworker entered your home without a warrant. That's a Fourth Amendment violation. Case dismissed. The reality is the judge acknowledged that the entry was questionable. However, they ruled that the photos that the caseworker took inside are still admissible because the primary purpose was child welfare, not a criminal investigation. The tainted evidence is allowed and the case proceeds. That's Wyman versus James, 1971. The Supreme Court ruled that a welfare caseworker's home visit is not a criminal search. Refusal is grounds for terminating benefits. So, let's stop pretending that this runs on your pocket constitution that was written on parchment 200 years ago. While this system is written in Latin on a 900-year-old operating operating system with the crown logo burned into the kernel. Parents patriae, parent of the country. Roll the tape all the way back. I just mentioned this like 3 weeks ago. So, 13th century, where kings weren't elected, they were anointed as your divine ruler by birthright. The King's Council and the chancellors start granting equity where rigid common law fails. Vulnerable people, orphans, idiots, lunatics, they all get parked under the crown as wards. That became the Court of Chancery, the King's conscience. Translation, the sovereign reserves the right to seize guardianship for their good. That's the seed. 14th to 17th century, Chancery grows teeth. If the king says the child's best interest requires intervention, your bloodline is the suggestion. Parents patriae becomes a doctrine with muscles, not a loophole, it's the spine. 17th to the 18th centuries, the king's bench and the chancery split the roles, but the crown's parental power just kept maturing. There's no jury, no criminal burden. Equity calibrates outcomes by conscience, not guilt. And if that sounds familiar, it should, because you're living in that echo today. Then came the American Revolution. We tossed the monarch, we kept the firmware. The state supreme courts absorbed parents patriae under sovereign police power and equity. The truth? America killed the king, but we kept the crown and we wrote it into code. Ex parte cross. In 1839, a father argued that his daughter was imprisoned without a trial. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court dropped the legal hammer. They ruled that the right of parental control is a natural, but not an inalienable right. Let me be crystal clear on that. Not inalienable means that it can be severed. It's a privilege granted by the state. It's not a right based on your humanity. The state is the owner and you're just a licensee. Your Supreme Court ruled that into existence. America killed the king, but we kept his crown, and we placed it on the head of every family court judge in the country. No crime necessary, for the child's good. That line never got rolled back. It got industrialized. So when you start screaming about your rights, the court doesn't hear a scholar. They see a malfunctioning component on the assembly line. Let's keep going. Late 1800s, 1899 in fact, Cook County introduces juvenile court. It's the first juvenile court in America, and it sounds compassionate. It reads like, save the children, but in code, it's a specialized equity engine for parents patriae. Behind the lace curtains, no juries, relaxed evidence, best interests are standard, and due process is now a vibe, not a wall. Then the progressive era to the New Deal, the birth of the administrative law, agencies bloom, rulemaking replaces legislators day to day, and we get the Administrative Procedure Act of 1946. So agencies can run government on rails. Translation, a parallel legal universe with hearings that look like court, smell like court, but they're not court. Lower burdens, more discretion, perfect staging areas for the protective systems. America didn't abandon monarchy. We privatized it. We took the king's divine right and we gave it to social workers with tablets and judges with quotas. Then, 1974, the CAPTA, the hotline era. States must build detection and reporting systems to get money. The state's microphone moves into your living room. 1980, the AACWA, foster care and adoption funding frameworks. Then in 1997, we were blessed with the Adoption Safe Families Act. Permanency timelines, the 15 out of 22 months clock started, and Title IV money learned how to sprint. Thank you. 2000 to 2010, we got SDM, the Structured Decision Making, and the CCWIS, the Comprehensive Child Welfare Information System. That's the predictive risk scores, the dashboards, the vendor middleware, so that evidence-based becomes the shield and algorithm-based becomes the sword. In 2016, CCWIS modernized in order to compress your life into fields, flags, and feeds. Today, November 2025, you live in the stack. Top layer smiles, bottom layer bites, and every layer sits on parents patriae like concrete.
Yep.
Every time a family walks through those glass doors, the doctrine boots up again. Your life becomes input. Your compliance becomes throughput. Parents patriae version 2025, still sovereign, still sacred, and still running. Now, here's how it actually runs, step by step, today, and why your amendments sometimes bounce off like foam darts. Step 1, the knock. This is the administrative jurisdiction. That caseworker at your door with the clipboard in hand and the fake-ass smile, they're just doing a welfare check. This isn't court. It's the agency's playground. Pure administrative action. No judge, no jury. They're just there to probe and prod, then plug your life into the matrix. If you refuse entry, that's non-cooperation. It's risk plus 10 to your risk score. Poverty noted, that's neglect proxy. Med sitting out, that's inability marker. It's a data harvest, not due process. Your Fourth Amendment, they say that's for criminal cops. These are protective visits. They're civil assessments. And under parents patriae umbrella, the state says it's just screening for child safety. You're not a suspect, you're a spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet triggers the petition, which brings up step 2, the petition. They file a petition and boom, game changes, you've just been served. This piece of paper is your ticket out of administration land and into the real Thunderdome. Step 3, the courtroom, your juvenile family court jurisdiction. Parents patriae activated. Welcome to the main event. You are now in a judicial court, but it's not a criminal court. It's a parents patriae court. The judge takes off their impartial referee hat and puts on the crown of the king. America killed the king, but kept his crown, and we placed it on the head of the state. So when you stand in front of that judge, you're not standing before a neutral referee, you're standing before a representative of the state parent. Your pocket constitution is useless here. You're waving a consumer rights pamphlet at a king. Your I know my rights speech, it isn't a defense, not in parents patriae court. It's seen as evidence that you're prioritizing your own ego over your child's safety.
Yep.
You are literally testifying against yourself. And if you plead the fifth in criminal court, silence can't be used against you. But here, silence gets coded as failure to rebut. Your quiet becomes their evidence. Sixth Amendment, I want to confront my accuser. There is no human accuser. There is a case narrative and a risk score. Try cross-examining a dashboard. These aren't your rights in this room. These are the scripts for your own execution. Step 4, the chancery jurisdiction. This is the oldest layer, the king's court with a new coat of paint. Equity, best interest of the child. This is where parents patriae isn't a doctrine, it's gravity. The judge isn't deciding whether you get to keep your rights. The judge is performing the state's duty as the parent. Your argument for liberty gets reframed as hostility to the child's welfare. You're swinging at caseworkers while the crown signs the order. Gravity is a bitch. Now, stitch those jurisdictions together with code. The administrative layer, that equals intake and ingestion. It speaks SDM trees, screening tools, structured narratives. Every no is a non-cooperation event. Every Y is adversarial, and every tier is an emotional dysregulation cue. It feeds the CCWIS with timestamps, GPS pings, provider notes, and referral outcomes. That's your future set. Then the judicial layer, that's the validation authorization. The petition wraps admin data into legal language. Facts sufficient, imminent risk, reasonable efforts made. This judge isn't testing truth. The judge is testing whether the file satisfies the process. The burden is lower, the timeline is faster, and the hearing is shorter. The printouts beats your mouth. Then the chancery layer. This is the deployment. Equity flips from what happened to what must be done. Services ordered, placements assigned, visitations rationed, compliance tracked, and all of it routes back into the admin as the new data. It's a loop. You're not being judged once, you're being rescored continuously in real time. And yes, let's talk about the algorithm, because in 2025, the star witness isn't a teacher, it's a model. It is the legal doctrine that allows the state to strip you of your child because a predictive algorithm said you might be a risk. Not because you are one, because you might be. You cannot cross-examine the Eckerd model, and you can't confront structured decision-making. You cannot subpoena the Traverse dataset or the Safe Measures risk slider. Imminent risk is a prediction rendered by code trained on past removals, poverty proxies, and convenience labels. The Constitution has no amendment for that. You're quoting parchment to silicone. Your Fourth Amendment, I would not cite that mid-visit. If you do, watch the notes update in real time. Parent cites criminal search law during civil welfare check. That's a red flag. Fifth, they log non-responsive, resistant to services. It's another flag. Sixth, they'll smirk because your accuser is a petition plus a probability score. The 14th, they nod because they'll process you. They'll process you straight through the pipeline. Your prayer group becomes ideological rigidity. And your 13th, you call services forced labor and they call it a case plan. Every right you assert becomes a variable. Every variable becomes a score. You shout fourth, it logs criminal framing. You plead fifth, it logs non-responsive. You cite 14th, it logs process familiarity, possible coaching. And you think you're asserting power, but the model thinks that you're proving risk. That's the trap. The louder you fight, the richer the data set. You want receipts? Look at the structure. Hotline captures allegations. Screening tags it with narrative codes. Intake writes your first risk score. And investigation collects corroborations. Dirty dishes, late rent, new boyfriend, missed meds. Each becomes a high weight factor. Poverty becomes unsafe environment. Grief becomes unresolved trauma. Fatigue becomes lack of protective capacity. And the system loves synonyms that sound like psychology but act like handcuffs. In coder terms, your life is normalized into fields that travel well and resist your explanations. Then the petition hits, the emergency custody under parents patriae. The hearing window is tiny. You scramble. Your advocate friends tell you just assert your rights. I've seen this many, many times. And when you do, the transcripts label it argumentative. The software calls it instability. The supervisor says non-cooperative, and the process says that you lack insight. The judge reads best interests and acts like the state. That's what the doctrine is designed to produce. You're literally writing the state's case against you with your own mouth. Look at it through the 2025 eyes. Admin collects, judicial authenticates, chancery deploys, and all of it writing the same 900-year kernel. So what do they really mean by best interest? It's equity as policy, updated to 2025. It absorbs hearsay as context, and it welcomes future casting as preventive care. It downgrades your rights to considerations, and it prioritizes state duty over family autonomy. And if you resist, the narrative engine writes you as the threat. That's the dark psychology baked in, framed inversion. Your self-defense gets coded as proof. Every one of these is another brick, and together they build clear and convincing. Then we arrive at the end game. This is Stantosky versus Kramer. They promise termination by clear and convincing. When the state predicts you won't fix fast enough. Not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but prediction beyond your budget. That's not justice, that's throughput. Listen, if anyone is selling you constitutional magic bullets, then they're trying to tell you to take a knife to a drone strike. I'm not clowning the Constitution. I'm clocking the venue. You're not in one court, you're in three, stacked. Admin to collect, judicial to authorize, and chancery to law. All of it riding on parents' patre. Same crown, new robe, and upgraded for 2025 with telemetry and dashboards. So here's how you survive the opening volley without feeding the beast. First, stop feeding labels, short answers only. Document everything and ask for written questions. Demand the record, not the argument. Make them validate data points. Who entered it? When? From what source? Don't shout rights, assert scope. Is this a criminal search or a civil welfare check? If it's civil, ask for the policy citations, screening tools, decision trees. And if they reference risk, ask which model, which variables, what thresholds, which validation study, what error rates. You're not arguing with the person anymore, you're interrogating the system. So subpoena the algorithm, motion for discovery of model parameters, demand audit logs. Who accessed your record? Who edited the fields? Which values changed and when? Ask for the CCWIS data dictionary and the SDM codebook. Force source of truth declarations. School notes, provider notes, hearsay notes. If they claim reasonable efforts, demand the service catalog and the waitlist metrics. If they claim imminent risk, make them define imminent in minutes and metrics, not vibes and adjectives. And when they say, this is equity, not law, you say, then document the equity. If we're doing best interests, put the definitions on paper. Who weighs them? How? What's the rubric? Iterator reliability. Because if equity is just discretion with a halo, then parents patre is just power with PR. America killed the king, but we kept his crown and we put it on the head of the beast. In CPS court, that crown is invisible until you argue with it. Then it's the only thing you can see. The calendar reads November 2025. 900 years and the doctrine still sits on your family like a boot. The advocates selling you magic words are selling you comfort, not outcomes. Constitutional law matters, but venue, doctrine, and data decide your fate in this room. You don't win by chanting, you win by forcing translation. From myth to model, from story to schema, from sovereign to source code. Admin collects you, judicial authorizes you, and chancery deploys you. Parents patre owns the pipeline. Your job is to jam it with facts, with logs, and with model disclosures, with forced validation of every single data point. Because when you force them to prove what the algorithm assumed, their case starts bleeding out in real time. You thought that you might have needed better magic words, but you don't. You needed root access. Now you kind of have a map. Aim it at the crown and stop swinging at pawns. Until somebody pulls this plug, every courtroom wearing that invisible crown will keep pretending it's mercy. But we all know it's not mercy, it's maintenance. I'm not saying that our constitutional rights don't matter. I'm just saying maybe our founding fathers actually saw the design and how extremely profitable it was while sounding benevolent. So we fought over tea and taxes, but I'm sorry, but the king doesn't give a shit about your pamphlet.
Dude, I'm going to tell you this, Derek. I cannot tell you how many people don't know about Parents Patriae. I didn't even realize how deep Parents Patriae is, and I try to show so many people Parents Patriae, and they don't even, I didn't realize that it was that in depth and that entrenched in all of this stuff. To be perfectly honest, that's crazy.
Yep, and
But it makes sense.
It shows up in the bench books for CPS. I mean, it is the foundation of their getting away with anything. It's how they override whatever right you might have been born with.
Here's the thing. The Constitution does work. I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a lot of people, but it took a lot of fucking training, I'm not gonna lie, because people are scared.
Mm-hmm.
And
you
I've told them
if you don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Right. That's why you have to prepare them. What I should have said. And I tell them, take it in there and we highlight everything that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And you will be surprised how many judges will back down. So I don't want people to think by saying that. I mean, I can't argue with your algorithm because I don't know about it. But what I do know is the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence.
Mhm.
And that's what I stand on. And the parents that have stood up and not been afraid of these people, which is very few, believe me, there's very few,
Yeah, well, there's been a
they
lot
have
that
won.
stand up and messed up.
Huh?
There's a lot that stand up and mess up.
Right.
They mess up in court, and it goes exactly the other way for them.
Right.
I know
And
that it
that's
works.
true.
I know
Because they think you're a psychopath, right?
Well, here's the thing, and we've talked about this, right? You
Hmm.
can't go in there and say, "Well, you're violating my rights."
Mhm.
No, you have to
You have to
articulate
know your
what
rights.
rights
Mhm.
that you're violating. And then if you're using Supreme Court cases, which I mean, judges have said, "Oh, the Supreme Court don't rule my courtroom," but they set the precedents, and they have talked about parental rights, and they say they are fundamental, and the state has limited access anyway. And I tell them, don't go in there citing these cases and you don't know what the cases are, because now you look like a stupid ass, because the
Hmm.
judge could say, well, tell me all about this case. So you're right. It is hard. Trust me. Trust me. 36 years. I know how hard it is to get people to listen and do the right thing.
Yeah,
It's
and
just hard.
I would never say it doesn't work, because I know that it does too. I've looked at hundreds of cases, and I see that it does. But the thousands of people that message me or that I have talked to or grew up with, we first of all, a lot of us don't have credibility in a court to defend anything. We have lost rights because of criminal reasons or whatever the case is. The
I can
second
help
thing is,
you. I can
a
help you
lot
with
of
that.
us, right. But when you're in court and you don't know that, and your kids are on the line, you it's not an option. Like, I never saw that until I was 40 years old. I never
Wow.
saw your rights or anything like that. I mean, I've been in court more times than anybody I know,
Well,
and I've heard 1,000 everything from jailhouse lawyers to federal lawyers, telling me do this, do that, da 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 da, learn the language, and I've looked at it, and I'll tell you, I do know it does work. And I also know that it doesn't stop separation to begin with. It will not prevent it from happening again.
nope.
It might help you. If you know what you're doing, it will help you. If
Um,
you can't perform on the rights, maybe you have anxiety, maybe whatever the case is,
Oh
uh,
no, I
it
agree.
will
I
help
agree
you.
1000% with you.
Do
But this
you
is
know how
what
you?
oh go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead, Tiff.
This is what I tell people. Okay. Tell me a person in this country, literally, besides the people walking around in suits, and even some of them who have not broken the law and gotten in some kind of trouble. Okay. We won't discuss mine. But um I help people get their rights restored, and I help people get pardons, not presidential pardons, because they can take up to 10 years.
Mhm.
Um, but you're right, and I get it. And here's the thing. I try to tell people you can't be afraid of these people. All men are created equal. The only thing you should fear is not getting your kids back. But if you don't fight as hard as you can, you're gonna lose.
Mhm.
Period.
And my biggest thing is, we should never be in this position to start.
Thank
Hmm.
you.
It shouldn't have got to this point. And like, you look at the who. This is one thing I've realized in the last 6 months is the TikTok or Foster Talk group primarily consists of middle-aged white women who make money, have money, or have had money.
Hmm.
And so they're able to operate under that. Now, that they accidentally got sucked into the beast system, unfortunately, and they get to deal with what a lot of people deal with from birth, from the area they're from, There's fifth generation welfare and CPS cases in the same apartment that their great grandmother was in, 50 years ago, just because the subsidized living gets moved on. It's their way of life, they don't know anything different. They don't realize it. Those people are the ones that make up the majority of what feeds the system.
Is it?
So, oh yeah, oh yeah,
Is it?
yeah.
Is it? No. My question, and I don't mean to interrupt you and stop you there, but you just said something. You said middle-aged white women who have has, or something money. So would it be fair to say that these middle-aged women that are out there right now making noise and all this, that their lives are so great and everything, were once like welfare recipients, or they were part of broken homes, or is it like that's a past that they've tried to fester off and they've become a different person, they've become something that they're not, or that they haven't been a part of their whole lives, but now they're there and that's how the system got a hold of them? Like, is that how the beast got them? Is because once
That's
they
not what
did.
I meant exactly. I'm saying the majority of the TikTok women on that I see on
Mhm.
TikTok right now,
Right.
they're white middle-aged women who have had money. I don't mean that they've fallen from it. I mean they had a normal life based on.
No, I'm thinking that they were there. They once didn't have this stuff, but that's how they got sucked into the beast, because they were obviously part of it at some point in time, right? To get put into that, get put into it.
No, I think they've accidentally got brought in. Rather, it was a call. It was because this machine has expanded so much. Nobody's out of its line of sight. Like,
Mhm.
um, their husbands can separate, and their husbands call on them, or something like that, or a child says something at school like their mom slapped them, or however
Right.
it opens it up, and the majority of them that get divorced, I'm not going to say that they're well off or they seem well off or anything, but their upbringing has been different than the majority of the people in the system. Like,
Oh, all right, all
their
right. So I
opportunities.
was thinking that you were saying that it could, you, no matter what, like if you become this fake person, that you're hiding from it, like that there's no running away from it. Like if you're already there,
that,
then
that is true too. I mean, that's absolutely true too. That and you look at it like marketing your future products, and keeping track of where you're going to make your money next, and it's on these people, whether it's you're investing in rehabilitation, private prison, you know an app that's going to supposedly help people. Now that is, you're not going to hide if they want you, especially if you've been in the system to begin with. But I was specifically mentioning a lot of the people whose voices that you hear,
mhm.
they aren't from that world. The majority that I hear on TikTok specifically come from
Mm.
a home life where they had a mom and a dad, and nobody's life has been perfect in 50 or 60 years or something, but so they've had little issues, but they graduate high school, they move on, they go to college or whatever, find a husband, have kids, and then something happens. For some reason, they get brought into this, and they end up, you know, um, not knowing that this actually has been going on. It's the first time they've ever heard of
Mhm.
CPS doing this. Like they knew CPS was around, and could get involved, but only for people that needed it, only for drug dealers and sex traffickers, and not regular people who are good moms. And that that their voice is so important. I will say that that group of people's voice is extremely important because they have the means to perpetuate what they've been through. They have
Mhm.
the ability, and even though they're almost feeling destroyed, they remember the confidence they used to carry getting ready for work or something like that. So their voice is important, but they don't realize that what what actually feeds the beast. They're an accident. What actually feeds the beast are these whole communities that are designed and made, and just generation after generation put through the same things and pretty much taught to depend on a system, depend on the system to go back into. So what I'm trying to say is this group of women, they are important, but people don't realize that it's a lot of people that don't have a voice, that don't have the education, that don't have TikTok, that actually feeds the system most of its information.
Right.
Poor communities and the ghettos or whatever, however you want to say it.
Would a small town be not a good place for them to look? So if you're in a small town America, you're in a safe spot, right?
No. I'm from a small town.
I think it would be worse.
It is. I mean, there is no good, and I can't actually say it was worse because I wasn't also in a large town, but in a small town, as you change homes, people know about you. So,
no, I'm talking about to get into the system itself originally. Like if you're in everybody's last name is Smith, you know what I mean? They're not looking in that area, right? Because that's all like a big extended family, right? So they're not coming there, right?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes.
That's where I'm getting at. Not just in general of the small town. I'm thinking so if you're in for instance, there's 2 names in the town that I live in here. You know what I mean? And I swear every kid in this town is named those names. You don't hear about CPS coming to this community because because everybody's related to everybody. So nobody's calling CPS. They deal with it amongst themselves. That's it. That's if there's dissension in the ranks, the uncle comes over, slaps the shit out of the nephew, and that's it, and things get fixed. That's how it happens. No one's calling CPS. But I could see how if you had a small town, yeah, absolutely. And like you're saying, that you have a kid that's in the system, and you're getting bopped around from Joe's house to Bob's house to Sally's house, and all of them are sitting there going, oh, well, you know what, my house, he did this and he did that. It's even worse for you to try to become somebody of your own because you're already predetermined who you are when you get to these places.
Yeah, so, and you go to school and the kids already have talked to their parents about you. Some have been foster parent or foster siblings or something. Yeah, and that's in a town of about 3,000 to 5,000 people, where it's a small town, but it also is large enough to where there is a crime rate and a bad side of town, and it's a great place for CPS, just because not everybody is related. There's only a couple huge big families in that area. Everyone else is free game.
Right.
Before we go, because I see what time it is, I do want you to know that I actually had a friend go to the American Bar Association meeting, and they finally admitted after 40 years, and I have the memo, that they have been policing Hispanic and Black families. CPS has been policing them, and they finally admitted it. And I think that's a good step. But my problem is, why is anybody policing any families? Period. We have a right to privacy. So you're right about the Bar Association too, but so I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, and anything that's positive in something that's so big and ugly, I'm for it, But I'm not. What I'm doing personally is I'm working to get the separation stopped. And even though they admitted to policing Black and Hispanic families, now it doesn't matter, which is why they've admitted it. Now we've got the CCWIS finding it doesn't care what color you are. It's going to target, and and now it's on steroids. So it's gonna get worse as far as separations, unless
right. Let's make no mistake. Anything that they've let out, they're finally letting it out that, oh, we're there stored. Oh yeah, we're using this money for this. They don't care anymore because their use of this is done. They're done with this now. They've moved on. This machine has an endless thing. It's not like a couple of us have figured it out. It's that they let us figure this thing out. They let us talk about now that they're exposed. It's why that there's no difference now between, if, like I said, if Nancy Schaefer came back to life today, she would think that she just went to the grave that day, because nothing has changed in child welfare since she's been murdered. Not a thing. Nothing has changed. This woman will be coming back doing the same thing.
It's expanded, and it's gotten harder to try to get your children back, and that's the only thing that all of any of the great bills and reforms and laws have done. They've just expanded it and made it stronger.
Right. And being able to remove the kids faster.
Yeah.
I have people, we have people that are calling us that they went to court one day with their kids. They didn't even realize that they were on blast for this, and their kids are removed right out of the courtroom from them.
Yep.
Not even knowing that this is what was taking place. It's crazy. But,
yeah, it's crazy, and it's ramping up, it seems like. So.
But yeah, it is. We are way past our time.
But one more thing I want to say. Keep up the good work, D. Oh, I so adore you.
You guys too. I do catch your show almost every night, but it's the next morning.
That's okay.
Oh, we still read the comments, brother. And you know what? I watch these comments because I've been putting YouTube on with us when we're doing these shows now. And a lot of people are right. We miss a ton of comments. Like we miss a ton. So I apologize to everybody out there that has been putting up comments. For every 3 that we get, or every 1 that we get 3 on YouTube or somewhere else. So I apologize that we haven't seen them coming through Restream. I'll get in touch with them and figure that out, because that's wrong. So we apologize for that, for sure.
Well, I can't read half of them anyway, so that's my.
Well, they don't have the giant Reader's Digest version for older people version of YouTube. Tiff, you're right. I'm sorry. Hey D, stick around for a sec after if you can. I'm gonna pop us out of here. And to everybody else, thank you guys for this Friday night edition of Tiff and the Punisher. We're going to get out of here. And I believe that Danielle's coming on next to rattle some heads. And boy, don't we know that she does that. But for us, we're taking off. So have a good weekend. Keep CPS out of your house, everybody.
I'll be on too, Darren.
All righty, man. We'll see you backstage.
This corruption is going to stop. It's pushing good people over the top. It's causing pain they don't deserve. These fucking judges, what a nerve. I can smell the smoke in the air. People losing their lives every day. We can't stand for this bullshit game. It's time to light this shit on fire. Let's burn the bitch down. They take our lives. Let's burn the bitch down. It should be no surprise. Let's burn the bitch down. They deserve what they get. Let's burn the bitch down. There is no regret. They're taking kids, ruining their future, making dads run scared through the fire. The court's destroying families, they're such a liar. When the days turn into the nights they give up, they have no fight. When you Consider yourself told. Let's burn the bitch down. They cause our pain. Let's burn the bitch down. We're not insane. Let's burn the bitch down. They had their chance. Let's burn the bitch down. We show our stance. We won't stand for this anymore. Here I am, let's settle the score. I don't wanna bust your balls. Your honor, you need to fall. You lie almost every day. Pissed off parents are on their way. You can get away with this anymore. Run scared when they pound on the door. You think this is a joke? You'll know better when you smell the smoke. We won't stand for this anymore. We are parents headed to war. Let's burn the bitch down. Whoa. Let's burn the bitch down. Whoa. Let's burn the bitch
We know it's all about the money, we know they lie, we know this is corruption. Does CPS know what they are doing to the children?